Hello, everyone. It is time. It is the first ever episode of Making Moves with Mac, presented by FanDuel. I am your host, Ian McMillan. Some people, maybe not in the past, but they will moving forward, refer to me as Mac.
It's got a good ring to it, right?
It does have a good ring to it.
Making moves with Ian. There were two eyes, right? And
two eyes throws people off. I get Lane too often, so instead I think moving forward, maybe I'm going to be going by Mac. This is the betting show, but it's not just any betting show because I'm not an expert, to be honest. I'm not a professional bettor, but I do have access to some of the best experts in the world. That is what we got these phones for. I'm going to be taking your questions. I'm going to be reaching out to those experts. I'm going to be using this fancy Sports Illustrated shoe phone. And today we have a jam-packed show for you, including my upset pick for this week's NFL action. We're also going to go through some of the betting news in the sports betting world, and I'm going to give you my picks for tonight. So let's get into it. The first ever episode of Making Moves with Mac, presented by FanDuel. Let's go. All right, let's take a look at some of the top storylines in the sports betting world, starting with a story that is a few days old, but it is worth bringing up because I don't know if I've seen a trade in the NFL, especially one involving someone who's not a quarterback, have this big of an effect on the betting market. Of course, I'm talking about Micah Parsons, traded from the Dallas Cowboys to the Green Bay Packers late last week. One of the best young pass rushers in the NFL, and the betting market reacted immediately and reacted in a big way. Starting with odds to win the Super Bowl, the Packers' odds have improved from 20-1 down to 12-1. Their odds to win the NFC, 10-1 down to 6-1. And most notably, their odds to win the division, the NFC North, from plus 250 to plus 170. That means they are now the betting favorites to win the NFC North over the Detroit Lions. They have leapfrogged the Lions. The Lions have fallen down to plus 185 to win the NFC North. The Packers now massive favorites to make the playoffs, minus 140 and minus 194. And their win total, an entire win increased. I guess Micah Parsons is worth an entire win. 9.5 was the projected win total before. That has jumped up to 10.5 for this upcoming season. Listen, he's definitely worth something. He's definitely, a Defensive Player of the Year candidate because of how good he is rushing the quarterback. But a full win from 9.5 to 10.5, a little bit of a stretch. In my opinion, and we are going to talk about NFL divisional odds later, but I mean, if you like the Lions before and they're like plus 160 to win the division, you have to love them now. Let's move on to college football. Week 1 is now in the books with TCU just demolishing Bill Belichick's UNC Tar Heels last night. Yeah, the camera loved Jordan, or as I call her, Jordan, because that's how it's spelled. But outside of the TCU UNC game last night, let's talk about Saturday's action, which unfortunately was headlined by Arch Manning. His Heisman odds completely falling off a cliff. That was the marquee matchup of the week. Texas against Ohio State, number 1 against number 3. Arch Manning was the Heisman Trophy favorite heading into the season. He was plus 700 to win the Heisman Trophy. He then had a performance that saw him complete just 17 of 30 passes, 170 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. That has caused his Heisman odds to fall from plus 700 down to 18-1 after just one performance.
Is there any hope?
I don't think there is, because not only did he have a bad game against Ohio State, but I didn't like that Steve Sarkisian, the Texas head coach, clearly didn't trust him to throw the ball as much as he needed to, trying to come from behind, trying to catch Ohio State. And if he doesn't trust his quarterback as much as he kind of needs to, I don't think he has any hope of winning the Heisman Trophy. Now, I think he's going to play better as the season goes on. I think he's going to be a good quarterback for them. But in terms of winning the Heisman Trophy as the best player in college football, ship has sailed. I would not touch it at 18-1. LSU's quarterback Garrett Nussmeier, he is now favored to win the Heisman Trophy at 8-1. He had a great game against Clemson in the Battle of Tigers, the LSU Tigers against Clemson Tigers. Completed 28 of 38 passes, 230 yards, and 1 touchdown in that win. We also saw Lenore Sellers from South Carolina, Carson Beck from Miami, the former Georgia Bulldog, and Gunnar Stockton from Georgia, actually, Carson Beck's replacement, all took significant leaps in their odds to win the Heisman Trophy. Let's move on to Major League Baseball news. I'm going to start with my Toronto Blue Jays. We're located here in Toronto, if the people don't know.
Yep.
I've been to a number of games this year.
Been to 8 games, right?
8 games, I think, but yeah, no one's counting.
What's the over-under number of games that you get to the rest of the season? I guess it depends on playoffs.
And it's the one downside of the Blue Jays being a good team, and I'm sure anyone else who has a MLB team in your home city experiences this is that as soon as they are good, the ticket prices go way up. So I would actually probably be at more Blue Jays games if they were bad, because I'd be able to go for a lot cheaper. Not a cheap ticket at the Rogers Center anymore, including this past weekend when they hosted the Milwaukee Brewers and what a lot of people were calling a potential World Series preview. If that was a World Series preview, the Blue Jays are in trouble because they lost that series 2-1. They then followed that up with a loss in Cincinnati against the Reds last night, and it is time to push the panic button, I think, for the Blue Jays, because their bullpen has been atrocious. They blew leads against the Brewers. They blew a lead last night in the 9th inning against the Reds. They now have the second worst bullpen ERA since the All-Star break. Their odds to win the World Series have remained steady at 10-1. Largely because they do still have a 2.5 game lead on the AL East. They are going to be in the playoffs. We'll see if they can win the division and host, or at least have home field advantage in the first round, and potentially get a first round bye if they can be one of the top 2 division winners. But they're going to have to make some changes if they want to go on a deep playoff run, because that bullpen is a disaster. Now, I will say, 2 years ago, the Phillies had the worst bullpen in the majors. They still made a World Series run. But I do not have high hopes for the Blue Jays. 10-1, though, not a bad bet if you still kind of want to get in on them.
They've been hovering around that, right? Plus 950 when we did the promo.
They've been hovering around that, yeah. And as long as they can hold on to that AL East lead, I think they'll be okay. You will see those odds drop, though, if the Yankees or the Red Sox do catch them. And both of them just 2.5 games behind, which is nerve-wracking. Fan. Brewers still 8-1 to win the World Series. The Dodgers are the betting favorites, despite the Dodgers not having the best record. Hard to discount a team with that good of a lineup, that good of a rotation. Other news in the MLB world, Kyle Schwarber is now favored at -105, which is a 51.22% implied probability to win the home run crown. Basically, for the entire season, it looked like it was Kyle Raleigh's home run crown to lose. But he's gotten cold since the All-Star break. I think he's only batting like 207 since the All-Star break. Not good in the second half. Schwarber is now pulled within 1 for home runs. Raleigh has 50. Schwarber has 49. And of course, that's coming off his 4 dinger performance against the Atlanta Braves last Thursday. So slight favorite, but only 1 home run behind Kyle Schwarber, now taking over as the betting favorite to win the home run crown. All right, let's take a look at the odds to win each NFL division. Obviously, opening kickoff just a couple of days away, so let's go ahead and take a look at some divisional odds. Starting in the AFC, starting with the AFC East, it is the Buffalo Bills who are favored at -260. I believe they are the biggest divisional favorites in the NFL this season, to no one's surprise. You could kind of convince me the Patriots are going to make the playoffs this year, maybe. I could hear that argument. I don't know if I could hear an argument for them to win the division. Plus 500 are the Patriots. Behind them are the Miami Dolphins, who I think could be a little underrated this season. A lot of people are saying there's some locker room issues with the Dolphins, and that Mike McDaniel might be too much of a player's coach, and some of the players don't respect him. But I don't necessarily believe all of that. Dolphins could be interesting at plus 750. Listen, I mean, they were within reach of winning the division just 2 seasons ago. People forget. And then, of course, the Jets, who have no hope, 16-1 to win the AFC East. Justin Fields is their starting quarterback. Not good. Not good. Moving on to the AFC North, one of the most competitive divisions in the NFL. It is the Baltimore Ravens division to lose, -155 to win the AFC North. Obviously, their biggest competition this season is going to be the Cincinnati Bengals, a team whose key to their season is going to be getting off to a hot start. We have seen now the past number of seasons, the Bengals suck to start the year, to be completely honest. Now they've changed some things up in the preseason in hopes that they're now going to get off to a better start. They have played their starters in the preseason, including Joe Burrow. The AFC North still the Ravens to lose, though, like I said earlier, -155 favorites. Let's take a look to the AFC West, which is going to be one of the more fascinating divisions to watch this year. The Chiefs have won the AFC West 9 straight seasons. That predates actually the Mahomes era. That goes back to the Alex Smith era in Kansas City. And usually, most years, at least the past couple of seasons, the Chiefs preseason would be like minus 300, minus 400 to win the division. Their odds now just minus 110, right around 50% to win the AFC West. And a lot of people are picking the Broncos, picking the Chargers. It is a popular take this season, that this is the year the Chiefs fall apart. Mahomes regression, and let's be honest,
the engagement is casting just
Travis Kelce, yeah.
He doesn't have to do anything else the rest of his life, right?
And let's be honest, they did win 15 games last year. They went to the Super Bowl, but a lot of those games, late game variance went their way. And people don't think they were as good as their record showed. And if you take a look at the Super Bowl, that might be true because the Eagles just steamrolled them in the Super Bowl. But also, we're talking about the best quarterback head coach combo in the NFL. I don't think that has changed. I still believe in the Chiefs. But if you want to look elsewhere, you do have the Denver Broncos at plus 290 to win the AFC West. You have the LA Chargers at plus 340. Now, I've seen some people pick the Raiders to win the division at 11-1. I think that's a little bit of a stretch. I don't think Geno Smith is the answer there. I still like the Chiefs, to be honest, because this just reminds me of the nightmarish 20 years we had to live through of the New England Patriots. And it seemed like every few years, people would be saying, oh, this is the year Tom Brady regresses. This is the year the Patriots don't win the division. They're going to take a step back this year. And then they would come out and win the division by 4 games anyways. The Chiefs remind me of those Patriots teams. You will not catch me picking a different team to win the AFC West. And then finally, we'll wrap up with the AFC South, and it is the Texans division to lose, plus 115 favorites. They won it the past 2 years in the C.J. Stroud era. This is the division of mediocrity, though. I don't think that there's any great teams, but I don't think there's any terrible teams. The Jaguars at plus 260 are second on the odds list. The Colts at plus 350. And if you want a long shot pick to win a division, and we do see this almost every single year. We see a team who finished last in the division the year before, then win the division. I kind of like the Titans at 7-1. They were a team, and I know this sounds crazy because their spread record last season was the worst in NFL history. They were a lot better than the record. They were in close games, and then Will Levis would throw a pick six. He'd fumble in bad spots. Their special teams was abysmal, the worst special teams I've ever seen, but they've now fixed those issues. Their special teams are going to be better. Cam Ward is now their starting quarterback, the number 1 overall pick, and I'm a big Cam Ward guy. I have high hopes for him. And with this being, the division of mediocrity, yes, the Texans are the best team in the division, but they don't have an Eagles in this division. They don't have a Ravens. They don't have a Chiefs. This division is a little bit up for grabs.
Yeah.
And I think the Titans are worth a look at 7-1. So that is my favorite long shot divisional winner. Tennessee, keep an eye on them. I think they're going to be a lot better than people expect. Let's move on over to the NFC and start with the NFC East. It is the Philadelphia Eagles who are a favorite to win the NFC East, as people would probably guess. The defending Super Bowl champions, minus 145 to win the NFC East, with the Washington Commanders, who are a popular dark horse this season, coming in second to win that division at plus 230. The Dallas Cowboys third at 7-1, and of course the New York Giants at 16-1. I'm not a big believer in the Commanders this year. I think they might take a little bit of a step back. I don't think they can repeat the success they had last year. They had by far the best 4th down conversion rate. They converted almost every single 4th down they had, and those late game plays that went their way. Let's not forget the Hail Mary against the Bears, the late game comeback against the Eagles when Jalen Hurts got injured. A lot of things went the Commanders' way. Now they have a much tougher schedule in 2025. So I still think this is the Eagles' division to lose. I will take Philadelphia at minus 145. The NFC North, which as I was talking about earlier, fascinating division because the Lions the entire offseason were the betting favorites to win that division. That has now been overtaken by the Green Bay Packers at plus 170. The Lions now right behind them at plus 185. Then you have the Minnesota Vikings at plus 340. In the Bears at plus 600. I still like the Lions to win this division. I actually bet the Packers when they were plus 250 to win the division. I think now the move is to bet on the Lions and get Lions at plus 185. You have the Packers at plus 250. And as long as the Vikings or Bears don't, completely turn this division on its head and win, you're going to be walking away with a profit. Because yes, the Lions lost both their coordinators from last season, Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn, but they still have an extremely good offensive line. They still have Aiden Hutchinson, which Packers might have Micah Parsons, but the Lions have a healthy Aiden Hutchinson. You got the running back duo. You got a great receiver. You got Jared Goff, who continues to be underrated. I don't know what he needs to do for people to believe in Jared Goff. So I still like the Lions plus 185 to win the NFC North. Moving on, we got the NFC West. This is actually a division that we can almost certainly see a team go from last place the year before to first place, because the 49ers are favored to win the NFC West after finishing in last place last year, plus 145 favorites. Then it's the Rams, the defending champs, at plus 210, the Cardinals at plus 390, and the Seahawks at plus 550. The 49ers last year are the team that had the highest DVOA, which is an advanced metric. You don't need to know too much about it, but they had the highest DVOA of any team that suffered double-digit losses in a season. They also second in the NFL in net yards per play. It is an advanced metric that those nerds use to evaluate teams, and I like to repeat to make me sound like I'm smart. But as you could just tell, I didn't even know what it stood for. But it still stands. The 49ers have the highest DVOA of any NFL team in history who did not, or who suffered double-digit losses. All of that is to say they are a much better team than what the record showed last year. I think they are deserving to be favorites. I think they reclaim their dominance in that division and probably make another deep playoff run. I'm also a Brock Purdy guy. People don't respect Brock Purdy. I respect Brock Purdy. And then we'll wrap up with my division as a Falcons fan, the NFC South. You have the Buccaneers as the minus 105 favorites. You have the Falcons coming in second on the odds list at, if I can find my spot here, second on the odds list at plus 210, the Panthers at plus 430, and then of course the Saints, who are projected to be the worst team in the NFL, at 14-1. I like the Falcons, obviously, but I just don't think they are a complete enough team to be able to compete with the Buccaneers, who truly have no real weakness. The Buccaneers might not be elite in any spot outside of maybe a receiver, but they don't have any weaknesses. The Falcons, I have some concerns about their depth, especially in the defensive backfield. Also, Michael Penix is in his first full year as a starter. I think he's going to need a little bit of time to hit a stride. Next year is going to be the year. Once we get Kirk Cousins off our books and we can sign some more players in the offseason, next year is going to be the year for the Falcons. I still think this is the Buccaneers' division to lose.
Hello? Yeah. I like it.
This is Open Lines, presented by FanDuel.
How this is going to work once we get this set up is you're going to give us a call at a toll-free number and leave a voicemail, and I will use these fancy phones to reach out to some of the best experts in the sports world to answer those questions. But until we get that voicemail set up, what do we got, Scotty?
We got a call. We got an email from someone very close to the show.
Okay.
Who is wondering? Don't worry, it's not your mom.
Perfect.
It's not.
It's not an ex-girlfriend.
Not an ex-girlfriend.
All right.
Is maybe a boss.
Okay.
But they were wondering, Ian, who do you think is the best plus money team in the NFL to make the playoffs?
Great question. That was sent in by someone close to us. So if it's plus money, that kind of eliminates basically everyone who made the playoffs last year. It also eliminates the Bengals, who are expected to return to the playoffs. Obviously, my bias, I think my Atlanta Falcons have a great chance at plus money to return to the playoffs. They do have a fixed defense. Jimmy Lake, their defense coordinator from last year, was fired, replaced by Jeff Ulbrich. They spent 2 first-round picks on pass rushers. They brought in Leonard Floyd. I do think Michael Penix is going to find his stride at some point this season. So plus 136 at FanDuel for the Falcons. Also, I know a lot of people like the Patriots at plus 158. But we're not just going to take my word for it. Like I mentioned, we are going to reach out to an expert. I'm going to reach out to my friend and coworker, the associate managing editor for Sports Illustrated, Peter Dewey. Let's get him on the line and let's see what he thinks.
It works, right?
Yep.
You got a dial tone?
I do have a dial tone.
Have you ever used one of those?
Yes, I'm not that young.
Okay.
Yes, I've used the phones with the old manual one. We should have got one of those.
Hello.
Hey, Pete, what's going on, buddy?
What's going on, man? How you doing?
I'm doing well. I am extremely excited for the NFL season, but one of our close friends of ours has reached out. Close friend of the show has reached out with a question. I want to get your take on it. He is looking for, or they, we don't know who it is, looking for the best plus money pick to make the NFL playoffs. What do you think?
So I got one that I think is really interesting. I like the Seattle Seahawks at plus 160. 10-win team last year, just missed making the playoffs. And I think the NFC West is wide open with the Matthew Stafford back injury. San Francisco's lost a lot of talent and had some injuries already going into this year. And I don't think you can ever trust Kyler Murray in December. We saw that once again last year. So it's a bet on Sam Darnold, which is I don't feel super, super comfortable about, but I don't think he's going to be the reason they wouldn't be able to get close to that 10-win number again, and that might win the NFC West for all we know. So I like the Seahawks. I think their roster, both sides of the ball, is pretty impressive. I like their secondary. I like their defense a lot, and I think just the path in the NFC out of all the divisions, that probably is the easiest one I could see a plus money team winning it and then obviously getting a playoff spot out of that.
Yeah, so you brought up Sam Darnold. Obviously, that's the biggest question. A guy who had a bad first few years in the NFL, much better last year with the Vikings. What version of Sam Darnold do you think is going to show up this year? Is it going to be the version we saw in the first 15, 16 games last year, or is he going to regress a little bit? I guess if you're picking them to make the playoffs, you have to be a little bit of a Sam Darnold believer.
Yeah, I don't know if he's going to be as good as he was in the first 15, 16 games of last year. I mean, obviously Minnesota winning as many games as it did was pretty insane. But, I mean, you look at what Geno Smith did last year for Seattle. He threw 21 touchdowns, wasn't lighting the world on fire for them. So, personally, I feel like Sam Darnold can 100% do that. If he can be a game manager or a little bit more than a game manager, I like the running game in Seattle with Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker. They don't need to ask him to do a ton, which, honestly, Minnesota didn't ask him to do a ton last year. He just, made sure early in the year not to lose them games. And, yeah, at the end of the year, we saw that kind of an old version of him came back. But I think we see something in between the two of those, and I think that's good enough for Seattle to at least be in the mix, come the later stages of the season. Yeah,
I do like Kenneth Walker quite a bit. While I have you, Pete, I got to actually ask you about your Denver Broncos. Not plus money to make the playoffs, but minus 130. I know you are a Bo believer. Talk to me about your Broncos this season and whether or not minus 130, like I said, not plus money, but you think they're going to get back to the playoffs, right?
Yeah, I think they are. I just think the AFC, you look at we talk about the NFC and how, there's a bunch of teams you can make a case for making the playoffs. The AFC is a lot different. We know the Ravens, the Bills, and the Chiefs are going to be there. Will the Chargers be there? I don't know. They lost Rashawn Slater, obviously. We've seen before that, Justin Herbert his record for his career, including playoffs, is right around 500, so there's no guarantee that they're there. There's a lot of questions with Pittsburgh and Cincinnati in the AFC North. So when you start running through it, the Broncos look like one of the 7 best teams in the AFC on paper. They have arguably the best defense in the NFL. And I think Bo Nix last year silenced a lot of the questions about him going into the draft. And now you got to think year 2 in a Sean Payton system with more weapons. They added Evan Ingram. They drafted Pat Bryant. They drafted R.J. Harvey. The running game should be a lot better. You got to think Denver's going to be back in the mix. The schedule is a little bit tougher. And I don't love, I'm sure you know this, I don't love that everybody's on them as the sneaky, Super Bowl contender team that can make a massive leap. But I do think they're 100% a top 7 team in the AFC. Just on that defense alone, they're going to be able to get away with winning some games where they don't have to have huge offensive games. And I do think Bo Nix, for the most part, Jaden Daniels had an unbelievable season last year, but if you look at Bo Nix's rookie year, he had an unbelievable rookie season for a quarterback, and I feel like he gets swept under the rug just because Jaden was that much better.
Really quick, plus 290 to win the AFC West, or does that still belong to the Chiefs?
I think it belongs to the Chiefs until we see it not. They win too many division games, man. They're too good in that. I
respect the you being a realist in that category. All right, Pete. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Yeah, we'll take a look at the Seahawks there to make the playoffs plus money.
Love to hear it. Hello? Yeah. I like it. Yeah, betting.
So let's have a little bit of fun. I kind of want to, I mean, we talk a lot of NFL, we talk a lot of MLB. I want to kind of find some, some niche bets a little bit. So I've come up with Off the Betting Path, I think could be an interesting segment. What do you think about that?
Unintended.
Yeah, Off the Beaten Path, Off the Betting Path.
Yeah, I love it.
So I have found one.
What is it?
This game is tomorrow morning, and we're going way off the betting. We have FIVP World Championship Women's tomorrow morning. Do you know what FIVB is?
Federal
Yep.
Invitational
No.
Volleyball Blast.
Well, you got volleyball, which is the main thing. I think it is actually I think it's Fédération Internationale Volleyball.
Volleyball?
I think is what it is. We're betting on women's volleyball, and I did a little bit of handicap. It is Netherlands against Japan in the World Championships tomorrow morning. I'm going to take a shot on the women's Netherlands volleyball team at plus 230. Both teams undefeated so far in the tournament. Netherlands has a higher point ratio, which is a stat that I learned about for volleyball. 1.234 compared to Japan at 1.12. Now, the reason why Japan is such a big favorite is because they blanked Netherlands in June, 1-3 straight sets.
I remember that.
Oh, who could forget?
that June day.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
a little bit of an
Were we
overreaction.
there for that? Or
Yeah,
were we
yeah.
watching?
I think we went to the bar to watch that. Yeah, I think it was on all the TVs at the bars here in Toronto. But I think these are a little bit of an overreaction. It's just one match. I think based on kind of how the group play has gone, based on point ratio, I think the Netherlands should not be this big of underdogs. So I'm going to take women's Netherlands volleyball in the FIVB World Championships. It's tomorrow morning, so we'll know the result by the time we record tomorrow. Plus 230 to defeat Japan.
We're going off. We're straying off the bitten path.
Off the betting path.
Nice. I love it. All right. We can get into that.
Now, from a niche sport to a very popular sport, we got the NFL obviously starting this week. We've talked about it a ton, but I want to give you guys my favorite upset pick of the week. There's nothing I love more than picking a big upset in the NFL. This week, week 1, my upset pick of the week is on Monday Night Football.
Are there two Monday night games?
Just one Monday night game, actually. Yeah, usually in week 1, it's a doubleheader. This year, just one. So we got a loaded Sunday slate. I think maybe it's because they have that Friday night game in Brazil.
Oh.
So maybe that takes away one of those primetime slots. But yeah,
You're competing with women's volleyball.
Yeah, it's
right?
true.
So
I mean,
gotta,
no one even's thinking about NFL this week. We're thinking about the International Volleyball.
Yeah. So it's kind of slot down, throttle down to one game on Monday night. But sorry, so you like?
I like on Monday night the Chicago Bears to upset the Minnesota Vikings plus 108 at FanDuel. I don't get the JJ McCarthy propaganda that's going on. This guy has not played a single snap for the Vikings. He was their draft pick 2 years ago. He got hurt in preseason last year. Nobody liked him when he got drafted. They didn't think it was a good pick. They felt like Michigan won the national championship because of the team around him, not because of him. People weren't high on him heading into last year. He then got hurt, didn't play a single snap. We're now here a year later, and everyone just talks like they're assuming like JJ McCarthy is a great NFL quarterback. This is his first regular season start. I'm not falling for this JJ McCarthy propaganda.
Tell us how you really feel.
Yeah. Listen, I'm not a hater, but like you look at these guys and hear these guys talk about the NFL and the Vikings, they're just assuming that he's going to be a good quarterback. I'm not so sure. I need him to prove it to me before I see it. This is a tough test for him. His first NFL start, Monday Night Football in Chicago. Say what you will about Caleb Williams, but the fact of the matter is the Bears significantly improved their offensive line in the offseason. They actually stole the center from my Falcons, Drew Dahlman. Ben Johnson, who's the favorite to win Coach of the Year, is set up for great success there in Chicago. So I do not think the Bears should be underdogs in this spot at home on Monday night. I'll take the Chicago Bears plus 108 as my upset pick of the week against the Minnesota Vikings. Yeah, so with the NFL season starting here in a couple of days, I figured it would be a good time to give some of my advice of some betting strategies and tips for the upcoming season. So I got 6 tips for betting
6
on the
tips?
NFL. Yeah, I couldn't cut it down to 5. I couldn't get 10, so we have a little bit of an awkward number of 6 tips. But we're going to start with don't wait until Sunday morning to place your bets. Now, I know most of us recreational bettors just kind of wake up on Sunday, place our bets then. But if you're confident in play, you should bet it early in the week because you are going to want to get what's called CLV, which is closing line value. So if the Packers, for example, are 2-point favorites early in the week, if a lot of people like them, if they're a popular pick, that could go up to 3-point favorites by the time the game starts on Sunday. So you're getting no edge. The market is extremely efficient by the time Sunday comes around. If you like to pick earlier in the week, you can get it at -2, and you're going to have a better line by a full point, which is that might not seem like a lot, but over the long term, those small wins add up. Number 2, don't chase your losses, which is a mistake I'm sure all of us have made at some point in time. If you lose a bet, don't stray from your strategy. Trust me when I say if you've lost 8 bets, it's possible to lose a 9th in a row. Have a budget, which is point number 3. Have a budget. Stick to that budget, and even if you have lost a couple of bets in a row, do not chase your losses. We gamble responsibly here on Making Moves with Mac. Tip number 4, stay away from what I call lottery ticket parlays. You see these a lot in the MLB season with home run bets. These bets that you bet $5 and you could potentially win $50,000. You may as well go buy exactly that, a lottery ticket. Play single bets. Don't get crazy. Those lottery ticket parlays are called lottery ticket parlays for a reason. They almost certainly will not win for you. Tip number 5, don't bet based on things like trends or public money. You hear a lot of people will place their bets because, let's say the Chiefs have covered 7 of their last 8 games against the Chargers. Well, I can guarantee you if you look at the last 9 games, it was 7-2. A lot of these guys will come up with trends that don't really have a set endpoint or start point to try to make it sound better than it is. I can guarantee you that previous results don't always determine future results. And also public money is something that you hear a lot about. People say you don't want to be on the public side, you want to be on the sharp side. That's not always the case. Last year, actually, in the NFL, the public crushed. If you're on the public money all year in every game, you would have walked away with a profit. And my final tip is don't always bet on the better team. If betting was that easy that you just had to pick the better team in every single game, we would all be rich. Take the point spread into consideration. In your mind, think of the game like if you're thinking of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Falcons, before you even look at the odds, consider what you would set the point spread at and then compare that to what the actual point spread is. And depending on what side you find the value on, that is the side that you pick. It's not always going to be the better team. If sports betting, like I said, was as easy as picking the better team, we'd all be rich and I wouldn't be here. So those are my 6 tips.
Yeah, I might be here.
Master, you might be
I love
here.
being here.
And I probably would be here anyways. But
yeah.
I might have a little bit of a nicer watch on maybe if that was the case. So I might have noticed this cool little safe here next to me. This is how we're going to end each show. Is I'm actually going to open the safe. I don't know what's in it, but I've been told that a friend of the program, someone that we know, has put a certain amount of money in that safe. I'm going to open it, see what's in there, and then use that money to place my bets for tonight's game. So
how much do you think he or she put in there?
I hope they put in $15,000. I think it's probably $80 would be my guess. So let's take a look here. Fancy safe, cool safe.
And what do we got?
Wow.
What do you see?
We got $100 to bet with tonight. Now, yes, if you are American, this is not Monopoly money. This is Canadian money. We like to color our money up here. So $100 to bet with for tonight's slate of action, and we have mostly Major League Baseball to bet on.
Love it. So what you'll do is I'd like you to bring us through your bets, and also the friend of the show has asked, can you kind of weight them, right? So
yes.
Take us through your bets, and then let us know how that money would sort of be distributed depending on what you feel most confident with.
All right. I got 4 picks for tonight. So I'm going to start with, I mentioned earlier my Blue Jays. I'm fed up with them. I'm just going to go ahead and fade them because they can have a 5-run lead. It doesn't matter. Worst bullpen in the majors since The All-Star break. Bullpen ERA of 5.61. They take on the Reds again tonight. The Reds are -110. Also, Jose Barrios, the Blue Jays starter, also has not been good since the All-Star break. 4.58 ERA since the All-Star break. So I don't care how many runs the Blue Jays score. Tonight could end in disaster once again. So I got $100. I like that play a lot. It's -110. I'm putting $50 from that $100 on the Reds. That's how fed up I am with the Blue Jays and their bullpen.
So you.
Yeah.
Blood money.
Yeah. Also, this is what I like to
Hedging
call
your emotions.
an emo hedge. It is the
Yeah.
emotional hedge. And maybe I will reverse jinx this into the Blue Jays winning.
Good.
I also got a home run bet for tonight,
Okay.
which is big plus money, so I'm not going to put a ton on it, but is Brent Rooker of the Athletics at +350 to hit a home run. He and the Athletics are taking on the St. Louis Cardinals, who are starting Miles Michaelis as their starting pitcher, who has not had a good season, specifically has given up 1.7 home runs per 9 innings pitched in 2025. So I'm going to take one of the Athletics' biggest power bats in Brent Rooker, who has 27 home runs this season, a slugging percentage of .495. It is a long shot. It's +350. So
what do you lay? What kind of portion, what ratio are you going on that?
I think I'm just going to go $10 on that. So I'll use 10% of my bankroll for tonight on Rooker to hit a home run +350. So that's 50 on the Reds, 10 on Brent Rooker. So we have $40 left for my last two picks. And we're going to start with a prop bet. It is Michael Lorenzen of the Kansas City Royals. They are taking on the Los Angeles Angels tonight. The Angels have the highest strikeout rate in the majors since the All-Star break. They have struck out on 27.6% of their at-bats in that time frame, which is almost 1% higher than any other team. So anytime you can get a starting pitcher facing the Angels, take the over on the strikeout total. Also, Lorenzen has reached at least 5 strikeouts in 4 of his last 5 starts as well. So I like that pick quite a bit with $40 left. I think I'm just going to split the last 40 between the last two. So I'll go 20 on this one.
There's no suspense.
I'll go 20 on that one. That leaves me 20 for the final
Who
pick.
is the fourth and final pick?
Fourth and final pick of the night, the New York Metropolitans, the New York Mets, -134 against the Detroit Tigers. They got this young guy pitching for him. I don't know if you've seen this guy.
I have not seen this.
Nolan McLean. Lights out for the Mets. Only 20.1 innings pitched so far in his major league career. Only 2 earned runs given up. He's also coming off an 8 scoreless inning outing against the Phillies last week. He's been on fire early in his Major League Baseball career. He gets the start for the Mets tonight. And you have to love what the Mets have been doing offensively since the All-Star break. They have caught fire. Cold start to the season, but they have recently caught fire. 3rd in WRC+. Weighted runs counted plus with an OPS of 806 since the All-Star break. Might not have known DVOA earlier, but I think I just nailed WRC+. Tigers 16th in WRC+ since the All-Star break. So Mets hotter offense, and they got this young pitcher who has been completely lights out. Got them at -134. $20 on them. $20 on Lorenzen over 4.5 strikeouts at -142. $10 on Brent Rooker home run against the Athletics, and then $50. Half of this right here is going on the Cincinnati Reds against my Toronto Blue Jays because I'm fed up with the Blue Jays bullpen. We're gonna profit off them tonight. Those are my picks for today's edition.
I love it. And then so once, if and when we win,
Yes,
it will be reflected.
right on top of that safe. The goal during the show is I never want a minus sign right here. If we can keep this in the positive, I'll be a very happy man. But that will be recorded right there throughout the season.
Fully transparent, total transparency in the
Yes.
show. You're gonna find out for better or worse. But if it's for better, the friend of the show that is helping supply
Yes.
stipend said that we could put it toward a wrap party for the show.
Wrap party at the end of the year would be fantastic. So
Maybe, yeah, by then it'll be January, but maybe a New Year's Eve wrap party.
New Year's Eve wrap party. I need to not have a minus symbol next to that, but if I am, you'll be aware because we are transparent here on Making Moves with Mac.